Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.
So welcome to this workshop called Win Your Authority. And the idea here is, if I want to launch a program, or I want to launch a service, or I want to go to find a senior job, or even a junior job, what is my authority? And the authority, it doesn't comply to what I know and what I can do. The authority usually comes from why I am the go-to guy. So if I have a consultation business, and if I'm a healer, if I'm a practitioner, why people will come to me? And the dilemma will say that people will come to you because you were able to solve others' problems with the method you use. So it comes from articulating the end results of the client or the customer. It does not come from, I do know taxes, I do know how to do acupuncture, I know how to do oil field. It doesn't come from here. The dilemma say, or the theory says that if I come and say, this is my achievement before, you can come and buy my product, or you can come and hire me, or you can come and buy my service. Do you agree? So before we start, we want to just make sure you are in line with the concept of this particular workshop. So if we go around the table and say, how you define authority? So Marcel, what is your definition of authority?
Authority is viewed from the future client or people who want service. So they define whether they accept this as an authority, and it is what they perceive as the to one part the skill set and how the skills and knowledge are delivered to solve their challenges or problems.
Okay. So you focus more on the skills and how the skills are delivered. I would stretch it a little bit and say, I will focus on how the skills have been previously used to solve some similar issues.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree on that? So, Yasser, you did not introduce yourself. So, do you want to do introduction now?
Yeah, I can just.
So let's just do introduction. Yeah. You have to. So let's just introduce yourself. Sorry. Okay. So go ahead, Yasser.
Yeah. So
let's go back to the definition of authority. So Yasser, what's your definition of authority?
yeah, authority is the perception of the audience to your latest accomplishments, how you used your skills in the past, and how you can bring this accomplishment and replicate it in your own business. That's what I would understand authority. This is how you establish your authority with anybody.
Okay. Mike, what's your take?
I believe it's the knowledge expertise that has a perceived benefit to an audience.
I love it.
I worked on it.
I love it. I love it.
I've said it a couple of times, but I think that narrows it right down.
I love it. So we are in lines that authorities come from our expertise or from what we did or who we are, right? So what we'll go through is a formal. It's a formal approach to be able to explore from the past the authority. So I will share with you the workbooks and the tools. I would like to get Marcel feedback on it at the end. This tool in particular, it can get you up to like 64 years or 128 years of background or whatever you did if you dig it more, but we'll just go for like 4 years or so. Okay, so here's the workbook. So please use the workbook, and as you are my favorite group, I would, if you need an extra workbook, I will give you one. So on this workbook, what we start and say is 97% of us receive less income because people don't know what we can do, and 96% of us we charge less than what we should, and we are always like 95% of us are leaving on the table more money. And leaving on the table more money is one of the questions we always ask, like, what do you mean? If you are working as an engineer or are working as a consultant or working as a business developer in a company X, and you are hired by company Y with a money raise, with a significant raise, it means you're in your previous work, you will be able, you were actually not performing well. That's right. You were underpaid in your previous job because in your new job you get extra. So if somebody will move from as a salesman will move from a company to another company and they give him higher commission, if you are project management here and you go to a project manager in a different company and they give you pay more, it means in your current job you are not getting, you left more money on the table. It's the same if you sell consultancy and your next client you can increase the price, it means that you left behind. Okay? So the outcome of this workshop is we should identify authority. We will give you tools, and we'll give you tools for personalization. So if I want to go and start on page 4, I want you to focus on one product or service. So if you want to do this exercise right, you should pick up a product or service and say, I would like to focus on this product or service. And if you have different service, different product, different alternative, you can redo the exercise again. Okay? So if you are mindly iterating between different products and service, you should always try to focus one. Before we start, I want to explain the process. The process is basically, we will document what we believe, and then we will distill. Distill means, what means distill?
Break it down.
Looking deeper to it. And then we will validate, which I will explain to you how to validate, and I will focus more on how to communicate. So these are the 4 aspects of this exercise. The first page here, which is page 4, it talks about document. So can you describe the pain point that you solve? So can you describe what pain points do you solve to your under this product or this service? So Marcel, do you want to focus on the life coaching or the business coaching?
I go for the personal coaching. Yeah.
Okay, so write up there personal coaching. So you always have personal coaching or. How are you?
Hello.
Hi. Thank you.
So if you focus on consultancy, write down what are the pain points. If you focus on service, on delivery, on workshops, on training, it doesn't matter what you focus on, but you always
Do you want me to list multiple pain points or just one?
Whatever you feel like it. Remember, at the end of the day, we should either have a bio or an authority paragraph or a description of your expertise, because this is a working group. This is not a theoretical education. So whatever you feel like it, you want to write it bullet points. You wanna write it as paragraphs, bullet points, words, wherever you feel it's you. Just keep writing. And you always remember, when we write things, if things are in our mind, they are changing by the second, because our neuron will fire 1,000 times a second. But when we write down things, we can give it an affirmation. And if you need more paper, there's more paper on the table here. And don't skip to the other question. Just spend more time. Remember, if you have someone who wants to read about you and wants to convince somebody to buy $1 million contract, how long they need to read? Yasser, can you share with us like how big is the documents of like a $10 million or $100 million contract agreement? How big will be the documents? How long?
This would be, we're talking piles of documents.
Like I had a friend who sold a company for $40 million, and he had 17 legal box.
Yeah.
Each box will have like between 4 to 5 thick folders, and they signed like 4,000 something pages.
Yeah,
So don't skip to the next question. Just figure out to write more, and we will do circulation, and we will share. Mariana used to be close to my heart. You're far away now.
I want to be able to see it.
Okay. Anybody ready to share? Marcel, do you want to share? Mike, do you want to share?
Sure. Pain points I'm looking at. So my product or service is online training videos for taxes, and my pain points. What is important? What is most important to approach taxes? Are you overpaying taxes? What are the key points to consider to keep it simple? What expenses can you deduct? Are there other opportunities to consider? And how do I keep more money in my pockets?
Okay. Marcel, do you want to share?
What pain points do I solve? Not knowing where to start, creating focus, finding clarity again, lifting from low self-esteem and courage, providing the missing guidance, help with better communication, better relationships, control of emotions, in organizing or helping out of the chaos, being disorganized and having no time, feeling overwhelmed, same as missing mirroring / reflection.
Okay. Yes, sir. Do you want to share?
Yeah, the pain point.
Read what you wrote. What you wrote.
Yeah,
You
it's-
don't make new things from your mind.
Yeah, it's about the business turnarounds and transformations, talking all the way from setting the direction, articulating the vision, how to convert a strategy into actions and projects, linking it to more efficient operations that at the end is profitable.
Okay.
That's the pain points.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mariana, do you wanna?
Feeling stuck, having depression or anxiety, having poor or no relationships, and feeling or having a lack of abundance.
Okay. Awesome. Love it. And I love the way you said cross of the tables, because you are completely opposite. Okay, before I want to say what I want to say, I want to just continue with the project here, because with this exercise, because there are so many things I want you to understand in the way you articulate. The second question is, why do your customers, supposed to be yours, not you, why do your customer buy your products and or services? And or why are you hired, contracted, or retained? Like why people will buy your service?
So if it's a new product, how do we just guess?
If it's a new product, you can guess. You can call people and say, "I have this new product. You think about buying it and why?" But you have to have an idea why people will buy. Like you start up there with the pain point. Now, why people are buying?
Yeah, but I haven't done online training videos yet.
Yeah,
So
but
I
but
don't
the
know.
topic itself.
Yeah.
But you have been doing education in the same topic, right?
Yeah.
You have been doing training in the same topic. People come to
Okay.
your service
Sure.
and learn about the new topic. So why do people will buy?
Okay.
So
Okay.
and if you are stuck, you cannot write why. You cannot write at least three reasons or 4 reasons for people to buy. You are the right fit for this particular workshop. Don't panic. We will get you the answers within the 4.5 hours. After 4.5 hours, you'll have the answers. Okay. If you promise to keep going along with the workshop. Marcel, are you ready to share? The idea of sharing is each one of you can take more notes. If they, like we call it borrowing with intelligence, I mean copying what other people have. So it's just a simulation technique. So, Marcel, what do you have? Why people will buy?
It's easy to create rapport, trust, because of non-judgmental listening. Focus on a simple approach, focusing on strengths more than weaknesses, doing one step at a time, but drilling in from the helicopter view down to the challenge.
Helicopter view?
Yeah. Like
Is the helicopter view different than the eagle view, eagle eye view?
No, it's one and the
it's
same.
more technical, I guess.
Okay, I love helicopter view. Okay.
One's more environmentally friendly.
So,
If it's a solar drone, it will be environmentally friendly. Anyway, go ahead.
Rael, a question about that. Isn't that more why they pay him?
This is his own understanding to how to answer the question. None of these answers are correct, and none of these answers are wrong.
Okay.
All of these answers can be elevated to the next level, can be changed, or can be affirmed. So we are not judging any of the answers, right? We are just,
Well, I just want to learn from it. So.
yes, and
Not
believe me,
perfect.
when we go to the next pages, the next 2 pages, you will learn so many things about it. But just I wanna first get from inside out. So let's go back to you. So why do they buy your service?
For me?
Yeah.
So I can help them overcome depression and feel happy again.
Okay.
I can help them move forward in their life. I can help them create sustainable and loving relationships.
Mm.
And I can help them overcome and remove the blocks towards having more abundance.
Wow. Okay. Yes or Mike? Which one want to go first?
No,
Yes, go ahead.
all right.
Keep going.
So yeah, the reason they would retain me is turning the underperforming business units to tier 1, and that I have done it in 4 countries through setting clear vision, aligning team, clear purpose, balanced goals, continuous improvement, and feedback that leads to increased market share, enhance customer relationship, high performance team that eventually boosts the top and bottom line.
Okay. Good. Mike, what's your?
People buy my products or service because they feel educated and supported. We keep them accountable to CRA timelines. They're left assured and comfortable with our approach.
Okay, that's awesome. Awesome. Okay, the following question is the last question in this exercise because this is the first step, which is document. Why do they pay you? Who doesn't like this question?
Pardon?
Do you like this question? Why do they pay you? You like to be paid.
Yeah.
And we are asking here is why do they pay you? That's it, Morale. So why do they pay you?
Because they have the desired outcome. What they came for, they receive, and that's why they pay me for that.
Okay. Take your time, guys. No pressure. Are you ready?
Yep.
So why do they pay you?
The value proposition we present meets or exceeds their expectations.
Wow. Love it. Love it. Yes, sir. Why do they pay you?
Measurable gains, quick wins, and cultural fit.
Okay. Mariana, why do they pay you?
A structured program that gives results and the desired outcome.
Okay. That's good. So each one here has a documentation on what are their product and service. So we can be done now, so you can go home. It's over. Okay. So let's just distill in it, and in distilling, I wanna point out a few things. So if we go to the following page has the commonly known as Badaw's quadrant. And what do we expect to see on this quadrant? What do we expect to see on this quadrant? So I want you to distill the information you had on page 4 along the following quadrant. So here I will have time. So if you want to grab colors and just use the same colors, you can. If you want to do one color, doesn't matter for me. You will go away with use this workshop, this workbook, and I will not see it again. And so if we look at this quadrant here,
What is the
you talk about dollar value
Process information.
or value. So we talk about dollar or value related information. They are related. They are not mean you are greedy or you are abusing money, okay? Just greedy. If we look at the time over urgency as one quadrant, if we look at the relationship or feeling good or feelings, and we look on process over information, this are the quadrants. And you can match these colors if you like, or you can type it with one color, it doesn't matter.
Where do the U and the V stand for?
Sorry?
The U and the V stand
The V stand for value or credibility.
for value.
Yeah. Or credibility. And the T stand for urgency. 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 And what the exercise now is, can you illustrate what kind of pain points you can serve your client and customers? And please use the whole quadrant. Like, I hope this was in the middle of the page. So you should write on the top of every quadrant here, write words or sentences which explain what kind of pain your customer has toward value or money, what kind of pain toward time over urgency, what kind of pain process over information, what kind of pain relationship over feelings or personal, that your customer will come towards you. If you read page 4, what you will realize is Mariana was the only one who talks about what exact pain. Each one of you talks about how you can deal with the pain. So I can actually draw a very simple cut on the table, because the table, people sitting in this slide. So what kind of pain point towards money, value, self-worth you can solve? What's the pains you can solve to your customers? So can we just focus on this quadrant and figure out what kind of pain toward dollars, budget, value, worth that you can solve to your customers?
Do we want to start on a negative point of view, like
This is our pain.
not enough dollars, low
This-
self-esteem?
Yes, this is pain.
Okay. Okay.
And if you sneak a peek to page 6, we will talk about the other side of the coin.
Okay.
And whoever is struggling with the definition, let me know. Marcel, any questions? A different way of doing it, if you have these colors, you can go back to page 4 and underline each sentence or each word with the different. But do it either way. It's like, I like to just write it because I'm a visual guy. If I wrote it down, I'll be able always to see it in front of me when I talk to my customers. Okay, so we are right now in the quadrant of value money side. So what are the value money credibility side you can solve for your customers? And when you are ready, we can share. Mike, do you want to share?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Low self-worth, lean bank account, overpay CRA, not enough income.
Okay. So why did you have low? What was the first one?
Low self-worth,
Why do you have this one?
from a financial point of view, like
Okay.
your personal wealth.
Okay.
Or-
Okay.
So self-worth, not from a person perspective, but from a
Okay.
banking perspective.
Okay. Okay.
Is there a better word for that?
I don't know, but
Self-worth.
just
But
you know, my role as a facilitator
Yeah,
here
yeah.
is to challenge
no, I'm just understanding.
people, like, you know.
Like I understand self-worth. Maybe it's not the right self.
Okay.
Low worth.
You need remember these are 4, so you need at least 3, at most 3 in each one. So Yasser, what is your?
In dollars, the pain I mentioned here is the loss of market share, non-profitable operations, shutting down businesses, and retrenchment.
Okay. Are these pain point existed in your page 4, under answer number 1?
No, I actually mentioned what I
Okay. Okay.
provided.
Okay. Mariana, do you wanna give it to?
So in the money quadrant, lack of abundance, not moving up the corporate ladder due to low self-esteem,
Okay.
having costly divorces due to poor relationships.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Good starting point. Marcel, do you wanna?
Yep, I had none of those words which would fit in the first quadrant, so I have to work on that.
So okay, so you're
I
not
got
ready.
this-
Okay,
no?
okay, you're not ready. Okay.
Yeah, but I got this from Mariana, so this is.
Pardon?
So write down if you get any new thoughts. Remember, what we are looking for is an aha moment, and the best way to use this workbook is to go to the recording and play the recording back and work this on your own. Unfortunately, because of the lack of time, we cannot spend too much time on every section. However, we just a starting point. Okay. So if we want to move to the next quadrant, which one do you like to do? Relationship or time urgency? Which one do you like to do?
Doesn't matter.
Let's do time urgency thing. What are the pain point in rational to time or urgency that your customers will have and you can help them with? So I know for Mike, I can give you one straightforward. Receiving the brown fancy CRA letter, and thanks God for Canada Post to be on strike, so this letter will not come in the mail anymore. So for you, on time urgency is basically receiving the brown bag, the brown letter, with the specific deadlines.
Mm-hmm.
So you can help them with deadlines, right?
Yeah.
So this is one of them. So I'm just helping here with one of them. So receiving the CRA audit or CRA brown letters with strict timeline. For Yasser, I can say meeting the quarters financial projections. Does this make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So this is our pain point, like quarter financial projections without plan. Mariana, so what could be a time urgency one for you?
Well, I have a couple, but
Yeah, just share.
having downtime due to depression and anxiety and time away from work due to doctor's visits.
Yep.
Um,
So you are helping them here to recover this time, which is good.
yeah.
Okay. Marcel, do you wanna share?
Yeah, the having no time from page 4. Lack of focus and lack of clarity.
Lack of focus is not under here. Lack of focus will be under something else. Here we wanna
The-
talk more
the
about time.
process?
Maybe process.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, this is the result of it.
Yeah.
Same with being disorganized, right?
Yeah.
Would be more on the project
Process.
process side.
So write them under process if you have. Okay. Mike, what did you add more?
Identifying tax deadlines to avoid penalties and interest.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I wanna go and tell somebody, come to watch this course now, because you most probably will miss tax deadlines because you don't know.
Yeah.
That's right?
Yeah.
Does this make sense?
Yeah.
So I have another one that maybe a little bit far-fetched, but you know, for women, having the biological clock ticking and having no relationship.
It's a good one. It's a good one. And remember, all what we will have to say if we use this orally, we have like maybe less than 90 seconds. So you will not be able to say everything. However, if you want to look for people who have this pain, you should be able to identify them. And then we always use, if you remember, the pillar of persuasion, because this is today is the start of the new chapter of the full cycle of the whole program. But many of you understand the pillars and understand the likeness and the appreciation. So I come and say, you know what? Do you get the brown letters from CRA? Do you know all those timelines? If he said yes, you can challenge him on one. Or people will say, so do you feel this pain? Do you have this pain? Is your quarterly is your quarter reporting coming in 2 months and a half from now, and you have no plan? They will say yes. You can at that point validate the pain, because remember, people have to like and appreciate this pain, has to agree to this, right? So anyone wants to share more about this quadrant? Can we move to process, because many of you here are process. So what on process information kind of pain you can help? So no information and the no plan is a broad umbrella or a global umbrella for pain. So you have no plan and no information or no knowledge, but you need to be more specific. What kind of pain related to process information? Remember, we talk only about pain. So what are the pains related to process information that you see in your potential customers or your current customers?
Sorry, say that again.
What kind of pain information here you are looking for, your customers are suffering from and you help them with? So they have no plan, they have no information, they don't know what they don't know. It's a different, it's a much broader umbrella, but we want to drill more into what process information. And I believe Marcel will not run out of pain, because all the pains he wrote was around that.
A lot of them, yeah.
A lot of them. And I will make a comment on that towards the end, after you guys can finish this. Mike, do you want to share?
Sure. I've got no plan, no timelines, no system to identify processes or areas of concern, and no deadlines.
So what about the current process they have? Because you target two different groups. You target groups who already have a bookkeeping,
Right.
and you target groups who is just like me. They have no bookkeeping and no financial background and nothing else. Okay.
Okay.
So for people who have current bookkeeping, and current systems.
Yeah.
And the systems are not serving them.
Yeah.
So what kind of pain they have? That they use a system which is not serving them, that's right?
Yeah.
They have no way to evaluate that the process they use, it just meet their expectations, that's right?
Yeah.
Okay. And keep writing. If you get any aha moment, just keep writing. Marcel, what do you have?
Chaos, lack of focus, being disorganized, feeling stuck, misunderstanding or lack of knowledge.
And this all what you wrote under question 1, that's right?
Yep.
All and only this, all what you wrote and only what you wrote under question 1.
Yep.
Which means what? Which means you understand are the triggers or the trait of people. Which means people who will like you, they are here only.
Yeah, and in the quadrant above. But
No.
the other ones are.
No, because you did not write anything else about how all what you wrote when we asked about what kind of pain were process oriented. All what I heard from you was process oriented. None of them talk about here, or here. Because you are a deep process guy, which is not good, not bad, it is not ugly, it's just like this is the nature of the game, that's right? So if you are deep process fellow and you want to serve people who are majority in the other quadrants, or help people who are married to people in the other quadrants, or help people who are associated with other quadrant, you should work on yourself to play the other people language. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So there is nothing wrong, there is nothing right, just awareness of who we are. So that's why I ask for the process to be, and leave the green for now, because for this reason. So Yasser, what did you have? Go ahead.
I have 2 questions. So I had better communication, control emotions. Would that also be in the
Control motions
Is control is process again?
and communication is what?
I thought it's in the relationship.
It's process information, communication. How to communicate
Process
with
information, yeah.
Okay. Okay. You know, and I always tell, I like whoever comes to me on one-on-one, I always share this with them. You know, I share like, you know what, I have my own days where I sit in my own home, meeting nobody, doing nothing, because I want to leave my own quadrant. Because I have to replenish my energy again, okay? So playing in the other people's words is not easy. It takes effort, it takes energy. But you need also to be your own. So if you are here and you want to communicate with healers or with people who are doing like hairdressers, massage therapists, whatever, these people are, majority of them are here.
Mm-hmm.
You need to adopt their language so they can listen to you, because they'll be overwhelmed here. So when you do this, you will not be yourself. So I go and collapse every other week. I have to, because otherwise I would be feeling like it's not a schizophrenia, but it's like the duality of life. That's right. You don't feel happy about it. So anyway, Yasser, so what's your?
Yeah, the pain for customers or corporates that having a lack of process and information, they lose touch with the market demands. They are always in defensive mode, continuous firefighting, and last-minute decisions.
But you did not add a change management issues?
No.
Okay. Okay.
What continuous firefighting? What was after that?
And last-minute decisions.
Last minute decisions. So that one.
So having no process to remove the mind blocks that keep people from removing the anxiety and depression. Lack of knowledge to how the mind works and how it impacts life and work. And no plan to get out of being stuck.
Okay, that's good. Anyone wants to add anything here? Okay. The last quadrant is relationship over personal. So what kind of pain people will have around relationship over personal that your customers will suffer and you can help them with?
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
You want to share it?
Yeah, so the pain here is disengaged team due
Okay.
to misaligned cultures and unsatisfied customers.
Okay, that's good. That's awesome. You always remember you can keep adding any time to it. Like if you wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, you reach to it and just add whatever you remember in your dream, you know. And these are always floating because when we talk about how we validate this, we will basically go outside and ask people, ask our surrounding about this pain point. And once they come and validate it, what will happen? They will give you more information. So for example, somebody feeling stuck, it can be somebody cannot find a partner. Somebody feeling stuck, it can be somebody cannot touch or cannot reach out to their kids or their brother and sisters, or they don't have harmony with their spouses anymore. So if you use the word get stuck, it may be overwhelming, but when you talk to people and say, yeah, do you feel getting stuck? And explain to me what you are looking for, and then they put this particular words in their mouth, it means that next time I will talk about this particular pain point, which is pain point with your family, pain point with you can also look for relationship personalities. You can talk about workplace issues, so they don't keep employees, they have high overturn, unsatisfied employees, which will lose productivity, unsatisfied spouses, unsatisfied family members will not create family bonds. That's right. So in a different exercise I was practicing before, it's just basically I will have some words here and people will continue the sentences, which was very powerful, but we had so many interesting results as well. So any questions? So my question to you, if you go back to the first question, describe the pain point that you solve, how many of these pain points existed in this paragraph?
For me, most in this paragraph, I think.
Most?
Yeah.
Okay. For Marcel?
All of them.
All of them existed?
Yeah, so I moved all of them, which I had on the left-hand side, into the three quadrants.
Okay. The value of this exercise is if you understand this pain point diagram, can you make it paragraphs when somebody say, what are the typical type of clients you help? That's right?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, I just figured out that in page 4, the pain points I mentioned is like one in like the dollars
Yeah.
quadrant, about 3 in the process,
Yeah.
and 1 in relationship with nothing in time.
Yep. So you are not fit to talk to CEOs.
So what's the indication? I mean, is it, when it is dollars,
Okay.
relationship
These
process?
are not indications. These are triggers for people to make decisions. So these are not personality types. These is our interest. People are interested, or the theory is people are interested in these 4 kind of information. People are interested to heal, recover, solve these 4 types of problems. These are the 4 triggers which any one of us can move on and make a decision based on these 4 triggers. This is how we use this.
You said heal, recover, was
Heal, recover, or solve.
solve.
Solve, right? So the research have been demonstrating that in these 2 quadrants, CEOs and the head of organizations and the head of families will care about that. These 2 quadrants are dominant in people who are doing the operation, like vice president engineers. Okay? And these 2 quadrants are important for people who are on the administration level, if you talk about corporate world. So when you walk to someone who he or she has all of her family and around her in the cubicle, and she has the flowers, and she has all of these photos around her, she most likely relationship. She is always the one who will whisper. She will always the one who will always be the focal that everybody will come having the breakfast and the coffee tea party around her desk, because she's the magnet for people on relationships. She loves the relationship. So when a CEO will come talk to her, she will walk to his CEO, wants to tell him what's happening in the weekend and how was wonderful weekend, and the CEO all what he wants to tell her, go make extra copies because I need 1 copy. So the CEO will write CU, while she wants to say, I'll be so happy pleased to see SEEU. Like this is a kind of information and triggers. So as a CEO, they look at budget over time. As a VP engineering, they look at the process and when they will deliver. And as a HR or administration assistant, they look for relationships and workplace environment and how to impact it by process.
And what did you say the last one?
Sorry?
What did you say the last one?
If you understand HR, human resources, they will be looking for relationship between the employees and the process, how to impact them. And they don't care about the time. The time are not priority for them. Each one of us has the 4. And the theory has been proved that based on your emotional status,
keep swinging.
you keep swinging which one is the first one, which one is the second one. Okay? So, for example, a CEO who will make a decision to get an office downtown while his company does not have efficient process or he doesn't have any sales process in place. Why? Because this CEO admires the value and the credibility, and usually there is a fractional between these 2 quadrants, so people don't get along. And there are more to it.
Yeah.
So if you stand in front of a CEO and tell him, I have a very detailed process to help people to love the business and get you employees more engaged, he doesn't care. CEOs don't care about this. He cares, yes, but it's not on the first priority for him. That's right. If you come to a project engineer or project management guy and tell him, I have a cost-effective solutions, he will tell you, we don't care. We have the budget giving to us. And if we don't fully use the budget, what will happen? It will be a budget cut next year. Why? Because a delivery guys will be here. That's why if you sit across of the table of 2, like business owner and his wife, you have to understand what language you have to use. Because a business owner will be here. He wants to see money coming quickly. And most likely his wife will be on the relationship and the process. Okay? And what I'm saying is, if you want to articulate the pain, you must have the 4 pain quadrant inside your write-up, inside your language. And you always sense which one is more relevant to start with first. Make sense? So if you do sale or meetings in front of two or more, most likely they are not the same quadrants.
What do you do?
You have to use language and direct your language cross to each one of them so you understand. And to give you a quick example, I had a conference call in the morning and I had a developer there and I had the CEO there. So for the CEO, I was putting the formula how to look in the blue skies to get more government grants. And for the developer, it was just nightmare. You talk about very advanced technology, unproven technology, high risk implementation, and all what he wants to do is he wants to run this particular software so he can just basically move to the next project. So I had to stop. I said, like for you, the way you understand it, should understand is we are doing multi-version. This is version 1, this is version 2, version 3. We are doing like a roadmap for 2-4 years down the road. But we are not saying that all of these features will be tomorrow. All of these features will be promised because we want to get them money to support the development. And at that point, he relaxed his objections completely. He actually came to defend what I was saying. Because his triggers is what? As a developer, project over time. That's right. Sales people are usually here.
What did you say?
Sales people, sales.
Oh, yeah?
They are between dollar value and they want to build a relationship because the salespeople will come to you and say, oh, my customer has these problems. I want to make sure to satisfy my customer need. He cares more about the customer relationship. Okay? So, if you look around the table and you see each one has his own cup, which is the recyclable cup, it's not one single use. You will overwhelm them when you tell them you deliver on time. They may not be interested here or there, you don't know. Also the science demonstrates that if you are dominant in one, the second domination will be a neighbor quadrant, not the cross quadrant. So if you are dominant here, your second quadrant will be here or here. If you are dominant here, your second quadrant will be here or there. That's it. This is what the science showed. Now, how much the science is applied, I can tell you, majority of the time.
I can see it here.
Okay? Now, the problem which I don't want to discuss in this particular, because we are doing authority today, in 2 weeks we'll talk about program structures and stuff like that. So that's the point I don't want to highlight is, we belong to one. Okay? So when you are stressed and you have headache and you are pressured, you need to use Tylenol or Advil or whatever. You will just go inside the cabinet of medications and you'll find all the caps are down on the floor or on the kitchen table, that's right. And then till you get there and you reach it, that's right. You wouldn't care about that, you go slowly. But when you go for your vitamins, you will be very easy, very slimy, going to the exact bottle in the back and raise it up and bring it without smashing the whole cabinet. How many of you will do that? Okay? Why? Because you like it, you want to have it, and you have no pressure. But when you have pressure, you do things differently. That's why when you are tired, like on the social aspect, when you go home and you are tired, and your spouse is trying to talk to you, and you are basically fed up, you want to say, okay, give me the summary. What's happened? What do you want me to do now? So, oh, listen, I have to tell you the story. What happened? Oh, what do you want me to do? And then your voice will go high. But when you are in the other time on the weekend, when you are lazy, coming off the bed early at like 1 p.m. and having, and say, so what happened yesterday? And she will keep talking, and you'll find yourself asking questions because you are in a cool mood. But when you are pressured, you are here. I can give you so many examples on how people react to the same situation differently. So as somebody aware and cautious of this, I have to use this in proper way to trigger my people to take decisions along with my wishes. Now, when I stand on the reason I ask you for colors is we will talk on phase 4 on how we communicate and what are the platforms. And what are we communicating are these pain points. So can you go to your LinkedIn? Can you go to your Facebook? Can you go to any communication pages you have where you sell your customers or you offer it to your customers or your future employers? And can you pick up these colors and can you underline each sentence or each word which reflect on this quadrant? And it doesn't matter if you have words which can appear in multi-quadrants. That's right. So a single statement or a single word can be different. It can have more than one underlining, okay? Or more than one color. But this exercise will show you who are the people who will feel what kind of pain and what are the one who will not entertain reading your bio. And at that point, you have to understand why you don't get people from here approaching you, and why when you go to networking and meeting events, these people will not be entertained and listen to you. So how many of us went to a networking event and start to talk about what's their service or what they do, and they have the ideal client in front of them, and people was not interested, and they just want to go away because you are not using the language which will trigger their interest to continue the communication. Do you agree? Any questions, any comments?
I'm trying to put this in the daily business activities. I get to a point that every one of us got his natural traits that normally would sit somewhere in the quadrants. But what we're learning here today is how are we going to adapt and fit to our target audience for fun, which is not, to be honest, it's not clear. I mean, yeah, you may get somebody, he's a CEO, but guess what? Not all the CEOs actually got the standard traits of time.
No, all successful CEOs have these traits.
The successful, but
full stop.
How do you?
So what I'm saying is, you need the four parts of the sentence, or you need the 4 sentences,
Okay.
or you need the 4 paragraphs, or you need the 4 pages. Which paragraph or which sentence I will start first with? Because all what you have is 3 seconds. So any of these sentences you'll start with first, and you'll keep saying the 4 sentences or the 4 paragraphs. I'm not saying like you will only focus on this and ignore the others. You'll lead with that. And you may come and say, oh, so do you have questions on the process? Like, we do this on time, we deliver under budget. Do you want to know now about the process? What we also understand is very difficult when you bring an engineer or a programmer with a VB engineering programming with a CEO and the CFO in the same room. Because CFOs are here. CEOs and the president of startup companies are here. VB engineers are here. And most likely the engineer is somewhere here. So having these 4 in the room, and we walk away and say, you know what, they were just about to sign the contract and now they have a delay of 2 months because they want to do more evaluation. Why? Because literally you were explaining here to the CEO and you did not give enough information on the process, so the VB engineering or the engineer here are what? Are now become more hesitant about the impact. Did this happen to you any time in your career?
Yeah.
This happened to us all the time. When I sit there and I see this particular piece of information, I said, you know what? Yes, I fired people because they were actually here. And that's now I can get along with them. So the biggest question will be is if Mike is doing his webinar and all of you are registered to a supplement to webinar, 6 weeks webinar. So if Mike wants to do his webinar, what kind of language he need to use? Who are the audience of the webinar? Are public people? Are random? In random situation, 40% are here, 22% are here, 28% are here, 16 are here. This is a random situation. So in a random situation, if you are going behind every and all possible opportunities in the market, you will need to balance your language. If you talk to only engineers, like the project management will be here, but to sell their CEO, to send the staff, you have to show the values here.
What are those numbers again? 44?
A 40 relationship, 28 process,
26 process.
26 process, 22.
16 time and 28 money, right?
Yeah, time. 16 time and the 28 money, and they may not add to 100, but they are within these numbers.
16 time.
Yes.
How much money?
I don't have money.
No.
How much do you give me money? Around 28 to 26 or 28%. And I know that's about 68 to 69% of them will have at least a relationship coming one or so, first or second. If we understand why people wants to feel good, why people wants to do diet, why people wants to go for makeup, why people wants to do haircut, why people will spend 3 hours do makeup, because they want to feel good. They are relationship people.
How many percent did you say?
These are 40%.
40%.
So in other words, whenever I'm dialoguing with people in a webinar, I want to talk about, hey, this is the experience I had. I had a bad tax experience. I went through this. So they want to be able to empathize with what I experienced. So they go, hey, me too. Hey, me too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And the way for them to emphasize, we can only use language and the human gestures. But we focus here on language, that's right? So when you have the language, how I will empathize with him. I will empathize with him once he used my own language. And I missed the deadline. Oh, me too, I missed the deadline. All what people remember from their experience, it's relevant to this quadrant. So what do you remember from last summer experience, Yasser? From your last summer vacation? What do you remember? What do you remember from last visit to Egypt?
Last visit to Egypt?
Yeah.
Not much.
Now, what you reflected is it becomes very difficult, very hard. Things are very expensive. It was very tough going through the airport, but you never experienced and reflect saying, oh, and my kid, when we went to this place by the Nile, they had fun. Because you are somewhere here, you reflect on this. So what I'm saying in a different way is, if I want to get to know where should I start with you, I can ask a very legitimate question. Oh, so would you tell me what did you do last weekend? What was the most exciting things you did last weekend? If he will describe process, guess what? All what he remembered from last weekend was the process side. This guy is what? Is a process. If he remember happiness and how it was cool to spend time with his kids, like if you take your kids, just to give it a simple example, if I take my kids to the backyard to play in the backyard, okay, and we will spend the whole day in the backyard and we will have the food in the backyard, what's my memory of that a week later? Was my memory is the kids were happy and I enjoyed, or you know what, it was just folding and unfolding all of these chairs in the backyard and running around the kids was just a big process? Or I was just focusing, you know what, we saved money and we had the most fun of it because it was the most cost effective ever to be in the backyard, especially when your neighbor will donate the food, you know? Which one of these? So when I ask this question, we don't ask these questions for leisure. We ask this question to know where should we start? So when you come to somebody and say, what is the number one naked problem in all businesses? You know, understand what I mean? Naked problem?
No.
Naked problem means the problem. What is the main problem in all businesses? That they don't make money. This is the naked problem. This is the truth. The truth is you run business and you don't make enough money to run the business. So if you want to come and somebody say, okay, so Mike, what's your problem? What's the main problem in your business? Marcel, what's the main problem in your business? People will tell you, the main problem in my business that's I lack the process. I don't have sales process. The main problem in my business is I don't have, people don't stay long with me. The main problem in my business is people don't buy from me. Very little or almost nobody will tell you that the main problem in their business is they don't make money. Full stop. But what is the most naked, that's why we call it the naked problem. This is the naked truth, you know. The naked truth in the business is what? It's not my people. It's not I have not enough sales. It's not I have not enough process. It's not I have not enough follow-up. The problem in my business is, or the majority of the business is, we don't make enough money. We don't make money.
I would disagree on this. Normally, the profit or the money is is a consequence of poorly managing people, of poorly managing your customers, poorly managing your time.
This is the cause of the problem. But what is the problem in the business?
No, that's what I'm
So
saying.
this is the root. This is the reasons you have the problem.
These are the roots, exactly.
So when you ask people in, what do you think is the main problem in your business? People will always relate it to the quadrant and the triggers. And if you are not convinced with this, like we can keep talking for so long, because if you are not convinced, let's just move a little bit ahead. But this is the point I want to say here is, people are having different pain points for the same problem, because they feel the pain in a different way. And the different way is relevant, according to this model, to this 4 quadrant. And these 4 quadrants are so simple to remember. You have value, dollar, credibility, whatever framework you want to say. You have time, urgency to deliver, urgency to achieve. You have time factor to it. You have process factor to it. And you have human relationship factor to it. No matter which business you have, you can adapt and adopt this quadrant to the language of your business. But there is no other pain points. And if any of you find a different pain point, let me know, so we can build a pentagon or a fifth what we call it now. No, but seriously, if you find any other triggers or any other issues, so if you'll be surprised. Like I spoke to so many people, and when I say like problem, like you come and say poorly managed poorly managed companies or poorly managed business, you will find somebody, oh, I don't agree on that. It's only me running the business. There is nobody to manage. So you will not extend that's her management, because majority of hairdressers will be like that, and the makeup and the photographing people. She will not understand that managing is not managing people, is also managing resources. She will not agree because she is here. Do you agree on that?
Right. No, I get your point, and I like the approach of, you know, first, you know, kind of it's very, very smart, just telling people how was your weekend, and from the answer you can immediately see where they lie in these quadrants, or how was your business. So because most of the time people will not yet say I'm losing money. It's an ego issue as well, and so
It's
on.
not an ego issue. It's not their quadrant.
But you will say, yeah, I have problem with the people, I have problem, you know, with the sales, or yeah, you're right. I like that, and this could be used maybe in ice breaking or networking events to pick some questions.
And we are not interested in networking event. What I'm interested in is when I start my seminar webinar, when I start my presentation, when I start to say who I am, I need you to address first what kind of pain points you solve. and what kind of pain point similar businesses have.
So in other words, intrigue them before you move on with the details.
Yeah. You know, dude, I know more about your pain points than yourself. This is a challenger model. So I don't wanna frame it in networking, because I remember when we talk about sales and the closing deal, I shared the scripts and people said, yeah, we had these scripts before in our life, but why you don't use it right now for your business? Because you frame it with something.
But
Go ahead.
If I look at my own business, like if you ask me what I did this weekend, I say friends flew in, we went to the zoo.
You see, friends flew in. We went to the zoo.
We went to the zoo. We had a couple wonderful lunch experience downtown in Inglewood.
Experience. Flew in, went to the zoo. He didn't say we have a smile, people were happy. This is you.
So that puts me into the process?
Yeah.
Because I'm
You remember this
I'm
one?
giving you a timeline.
Yeah. Not timeline, you give me a process.
Is it a process or is it
Yeah,
a timeline?
flying is a process. Going to the zoo is a process.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you put me in the process category.
You are in the process category by your education and by your expertise. What was your job at the military, at the army, at the Canadian Army?
Electronics technician.
And what electronic technicians will do?
Fix boxes.
Diagnosing with a step-by-step process.
Yeah.
Understand how to fix process.
Yeah.
So you are literally
How to open, how to diagnose, how to
Here.
close it up, how to sign the paperwork.
yeah. And what make you in this job for 10 years or more? I understand.
15.
Yeah. What make you happy in this job for 10 to 15 years? What got you promotion in this job? Because you were good at it.
Yeah.
I had one of my customers or friends now, Ashraf. He ran. He's a dentist. He spent 7-8 years as a dentist. Right now he runs a media outlet and he has a YouTube channels and he ran computer animated productions. And he's also a musician and he's all kind of things. And he is not continuing to be a dentist. Actually, when we call him doctor, he just say, I'm actually going to withdraw from the syndication because I don't want to be a doctor. Why? Because this fellow hates the process. Hates it. By him being a musician and the caricature drawing and doing all of these animations, he loves this area here. And he get other people to do the animation for him. But he doesn't feel it. So any successful individual you meet who's been there for 5, 10 years, 20 years, whatever, this is one of the drivers. What we also know about it is 60% of our Canadian families are divorced because we come from different quadrants and we don't share the functional values. And it takes us 4 to 8 years to realize we are not happy in our life. Because when we were kids, we were always pushed into a quadrant that is not ours for so long by our parent, because this is what our parents believe. When they push us to this quadrant, we can compensate what are we missing in our personality. And when we meet a soulmate, we believe this soulmate is a soulmate because she shares the same quadrant. And guess what? This is not true. And guess what? We have fractional values. My fractional values will be her functional values. Her fractional values will be my functional values. And it takes us 4 to 8 years to go head to head and fight. Very simple explanation. It worked on almost 98% of the cases which this was analyzed upon.
Yeah, but the way I perceive my weekend, for example, might not be the way I perceive my business.
Because it's a different mode. It's a different mode. How many people like you, if you go to ask them the question...
And I'm a musician, which puts me in a relational thing.
Yep. Yep. I said the priorities and the which ones are dominant is function of the mood.
Yeah.
Okay, can we move on?
Well, getting back to my analysis though, if you were to meet me, how do you know what's going to appeal to me from a conversation and what you do?
I can ask 1 or 2 questions, and from this 1 to 2 questions, I will have a starting point where can I start?
So what would be a difference? So what would you look to listen to me from to know that I'm dollar focused on asking me about my weekend?
That you will say on a dollar focus will always look at the credibility. So people will say, yeah, we went to this very fancy restaurant. We went to this 100 years old, like we went to the Heritage Park. So why did you go to the Heritage Park? Because we want to watch this 100 years old houses. These people will look at credibility. Will say credibility. Just if you have 100 people in a room or a few people in a room, just go ask them the same question and get the different answers and look at how you map it. And then look at their conversation, what kind of words they use.
But there's no dollar terms in that conversation.
It's credibility. It's a value. It's not a dollar. Like in the new forms we have, it's a value, it's a credibility. It's not a dollar. Dollar is just indication of values, right? Any more discussions here?
Credibility.
How many percent were in the process, you said?
Around
26%.
And by the way, this is for North America, and in Japan and different countries are different. Different culture are different. At the end of the day, don't bug yourself much with the process, but you know now when you meet somebody, bookkeeping, life or administration or business analysts are here. Okay? If you tell someone, oh, what did you do last? You understand where they belong.
And relationship means, hey, we got together over the weekend with our kids, with our friends.
It was really a lovely event.
So that's relationship.
Yeah.
And what about time? How would I express a weekend over time?
It may be not relevant all the time. Maybe one of the quadrant will be missing.
Okay.
But if somebody will come to you, we did not have enough time to do everything we like.
Yeah.
Yeah, or it was hectic. Been doing lots of things and been rushing.
Yeah, you know. And that I'm saying that we are not saying this is are not.
I'm just looking for audible cues.
Yeah.
You know, to look for like
Yeah.
from everything that I know, I'd automatically go to process just for everything. If someone's gonna list their weekend, and we did this, and we did this, and we did this.
So go to your spouse today and ask her about what's her experience last weekend. Write your experience last weekend, or what last event, last whatever,
Yeah.
and ask her what's your experience, and you'll be able to understand. When you go to conflict communications, if you understand what triggered it, you can always talk to it.
So if I ask my wife, what did you do over the weekend? She goes, oh, my best friend since we were 10 came in and we had such a great time. We drank wine together, and so it automatically puts her in a relationship then. Right? Because she didn't talk about the events. She talked about the experience with her friend.
Which will make you wonder, and just to share with you one more tip. So part of the compliance is likeness. So if you want to get somebody in a party and you want them to confirm that they like the party and they really love it, you have to ask them the questions in the same way they can answer it. So you tell them, how do you feel about today, not what do you think the food is good, or what do you think of the food. So how do you feel about the food? How do you, so this is the kind of language will get you closer to them because you are not challenging their brain. And it's all happening in subconscious mind, and I want to just move on to the next step because the next step will be page 6. And on page 6, we did not write few things here, but this is also in this tell. So we have the most famous Badawi quadrant now, and this quadrant will be same concept. We talk about dollar values, we talk about relationship, we talk about time, and we talk about blue or process information. That's right. I want you to go and write down what kind of benefits or services that you did to solve the pain point to a customer. And to give you the beauty of that, can you talk on quantitative and less qualitative information? So go back to your experience and say, an ideal customer, which I served before, how did you serve him on the problems here? And can you put a quantity to it? So I help him to cut, like, what was the pain point on the process? Can you share with me one pain point?
Yeah, unprofitable business, loss of market share.
Loss of market share. So what did you do to your customer or to your employer early to recover the lost market share?
What did I do?
Yes. Did you help them there?
Yeah.
And how much did they grow from the market share? How much did you save them on the market share?
It went from 30% market share to 48%.
Okay, so you help your customers to gain, your employer to grow from 30%
30%.
to 48%. In different language, I help them to gain 18 more points. In a different language, I help them to grow 60,
Almost 70%.
almost 70%, or 68.5% to be exact, something like that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what language you want to use, but you should have in your bio somewhere for a typical employer or a typical customer or in a typical environment, I was able to serve them and grow them from this percentage to that percentage. Okay? So Mike, what kind of dollar values do you have as a pain point?
Dollar values?
Yeah, like what kind of pain point on dollar value?
Minimal wealth, lean bank account, overpay CRA, not enough income.
Okay, so
low market share. Lack of
what was the second
abundance.
one?
Lean bank account,
What's the third one?
overpay CRA.
Overpay CRA. So how much did you save somebody from overpaying CRA?
Most so far is about 76,000.
Okay, so can you put this number here?
Yeah.
So your benefit, or what did you serve, is I saved my client $76,000. Do you get this exercise? So all what you need to do is you need to flip the page back and come and say, this is the quantities. This is how much. These are numbers. So on every one of the pain points you had, I want you to go in and just say, what did you do? And look at it from quantitative perspective, not qualitative perspective. And if you did not have the service yet, you can say, I project that much percentage. Make sense? So can you, if you're done with the dollar sign, can you go to the time? Can you go to the relationship? Can you go to the process? Can you just keep doing this exercise and just add more benefits in quantitative way?
I don't know how to quantify because I've got such a variation of clients in the dollar sign, right? I mean, a client that only has 50,000 in revenues is going to have a different quantitative amount than a client that has $1 million in revenue.
So write down for this particular client I did so and so. For this particular client I did so and so, and this actually will lead to the next page. But you can just basically quantify what were your solution for the pain points. So you had 176. Now, what is about the next one?
I don't know. I'm done.
What do you mean you're done?
I don't know where to go from there.
So,
because that's the only really measurable thing I have. Everything else is
okay. So
is all over the board. I mean, there's so many factors that blend in.
It doesn't matter how many factors you blend in. What matters is, can you quantify a tangible benefits? And when you say the one you wrote is a tangible benefit, If this is the only one you can do it in this quadrant, no problem. Let's just move to the next one. So next one here
It'll be on time.
will be on time. So what did you do beneficial on these pain points in terms of quantities?
No idea.
Okay, share with me one and we can just,
Well, like helping with CRA letters and timelines.
okay. So how many,
How many clients have I helped with that?
yeah, you can say how many clients did you help with that?
Over 300 clients helped.
Okay, so just put over 300 clients
Greater than 300.
were able to achieve, to reply to correspondence on timely manner
Well, that's just filing the taxes on time.
or filing taxes on time. Okay. The biggest, one of the other way of saying it is you saved them potential loss of so much penalty. That's right.
Yeah.
So go back, read the pain point, and stimulate your brain to come back with numbers or with service. How did you solve the problem? How much did you achieve? How much did they achieve?
So I put highlighting adherence to installments to avoid interest.
Yep.
That's on the right track?
Yeah. So if I come to say, okay, what is the benefit of your business or how can you help me out? You can read these ones. That's right?
Yeah.
Now what about the process? Marcel, are you stuck or? Just read the pain points and figure out from the pain points what kind of quantities will you be able to achieve to other people. And always remember, when you go back to your LinkedIn profile or to your Facebook page, business page, or your marketing material or about you section in your portfolio, ask yourself a question. How many of these do I really have?
How many of these do you really have?
Yeah, how many of these benefits you are actually listing on your LinkedIn profile or your marketing material or your about in your business page. And some of you may consider some of this information confidential. However, there are always ways around the confidentiality. So if somebody will come and say, oh, this was a confidential or non-confidential, you can investigate. if this really true or confidential or not. That's right?
Yeah.
So if you're done with the 3 quadrants, you can go now to the last quadrant, which most likely will be a relationship if you went in order. And always remember that one solution to multi pain point is better than multi solution for every single pain point. So if somebody already say, okay, I have all these pain points and I have just a process in place for people to adopt right away, it will solve all of these problems. Still a good answer. But can you tell us how the effectiveness of this process, like, does it save them 75% of the time? Does it save them 80% of the time? Does it really increase? So it doesn't matter if you must have at least one sentence which describe at least one benefit in each quadrant. If you don't have this one, you will not be, people in this quadrant will not like you. Make sense? Okay, so Yasser, do you want to share?
Which quadrant?
Whatever you feel like. Anyone, all of them.
Tricky. If I start with the process, you'll. Yeah, it's as you mentioned, it's all linked to each other. But if we start with the dollars and value, yeah, increased market share in some markets by 68%. More than doubled the revenue with a heavy fall through in the bottom line, and I'm talking 30 million a year to 66 million a year in less than 2 years. Increasing production in offshore assets from 6,000 barrels a day to 25,000 barrels a day in 5 years. If we look at the time, been accelerating projects all the time and operations, for example, and
So you have to avoid words like all the time because it's fluffy.
okay.
Like it's fluffy, is not specific.
Okay,
So you have
I
to-
can say, for example, in my last project,
Yeah.
I accelerated,
Yeah.
the 10-year program got executed over 6 years.
Yeah.
Okay. When it comes to a process, I came up with a new process that supported swift decisions, that reduced the non-productive time in service delivery. So there will always be a downtime of 30%, managed to drop it to less than 9%. Because of this process, and also reduce the safety injuries and fatalities in operations. And we got awarded Project of the Year for the last 3 years, 2016, 17, and 2015. For relationship, through the motivation and alignment of the team, in my previous assignment, I reduced the annual attrition during the downturn to be less than 5%. repeated business with the same partner. So we managed to approve 7 projects over 6 years together. So there was no showstopper there, and developed many of the team members to take several leadership positions in my employer organization and in the partners organization.
Okay.
That's what I.
What's your reaction, Mike?
I don't know, I'm just overwhelmed.
I know we have to break this in. Marcel, do you wanna? So the point I want to say here is, these are good. Are these part of what's about you outside?
What do you mean outside?
Like on LinkedIn, on your company Facebook business page. Inside-
Some, yeah, especially the numbers are there, but the stories are not there.
Okay.
Like reducing iteration is not there, for example.
Okay. So,
Developing the team is not there.
and are these key element for what you want to do next?
Which one? The numbers or the relationship?
The stories or the numbers are these key factors for people to understand before they talk to you again?
I would say the numbers, yes.
Because you are here. People love the stories. Anyway, Marcel, do you want to share?
I have it just in 2 sectors for now, with focus on one client. I'm struggling with this a little bit. So I'm very loaded on the process side, but
Yeah.
not clear how I can quantify it on the process side. On the saving side, found with the last client ways to save money in subscriptions and useless contracts.
Okay.
And finding time, like 1 hour for meditation and 1 hour additional hour in the day for the gym.
Okay.
By reorganizing.
Okay.
But yeah, how can I quantify on the process side?
You can just say an efficient process. Like we aim to quantify and to qualify, but if we cannot, it's okay. That's right. We cannot always have everything we like. So the point is, if you come and say, I have a system where someone used it and they have 1 extra hour in their day where they use it in the gym to help themselves. You are overwhelmed. Do you like to use the system? Is this a better proposition, or just saying I will just help people getting more time in their business and no quantification? Which one is better?
Okay. Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah. Okay.
So what we say is, we always try to push to quantification, because quantification would get you out of the noise. You have measurement. You have people you can talk to. You have testimonials which say that. So I stand and say, I have a system where someone tripled his income in 3 months. Or suppose it's about 3 months. And I have a testimonial for that. And I have the name of the guy, and the guy is very well known in the community, so people will know. I have a testimonial from somebody who went from $4 million to $11 million a year. Because if he implements some of the things I was just sharing with him. And I have testimonial for this. This will put me out of the noise than just a business coach or a trainer, that's right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is where we're trying to get more into the authority.
Okay. Do you still have another example for quantification in the process?
We will, like, after the break, everything we have will be examples, so don't worry.
Okay.
There are so many, we almost halfway on the workbook, that's right? So we're just about maybe 2 hours in the day, still having another 3 hours. Mike, do you want to share your benefits?
For the benefits on the time quadrant, I had highlighting adherence to installments to avoid interest payments.
Okay.
On the process, continuous prompting of upcoming deadlines like bookkeeping, filing,
Okay.
filing of annual returns, and then system ensuring that all expenses are used and addressed.
Okay. That's awesome.
And then in the relationship, I had peace of mind, removing stress, and fully supported by phone, text, or email.
Wow, wow, love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because how many service like yours will stand and say, if you say the four, we will never tell the people in cross of the table, oh, for money we do that, for relationship, that's right. We don't say that, that's right. We will only have them as a paragraph, as a flowing paragraph or flowing sentences. So the question is, how many people will stress that they have 100%, they are very open to do business, they have access with email, with phone, fully supported. You may want to say these are always common underlying assumption that people will support what you do.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is, you talk about it, it means it's important for your business. It means you care about relationship with your clients. That's right. Does it make sense? Do you agree, guys? If you don't agree on anything else, this is a safe room. Just you have the right to disagree. Okay. Mariana, do you wanna be closing?
I'm really struggling with this. So I help overcome people with poor self-esteem so they can get a higher paying job.
Okay.
I help people to overcome stress and anxiety so they can go back to being productive in the workforce and go back to the workplace. I help people to remove the triggers that destroy their relationship and have a happy and fulfilling marriage. And I teach people to have a repeatable process to remove their mind blocks, to overcome stress and anxiety.
Wow. And you will always use only 2 sentences from this based on whoever's the client in front of you, that's right?
Pardon?
You will only use 2 quadrant based on the client in front of you. Like if somebody they have a poor relationship, you can tell them what's the poor relationship, and you tell them using this particular process. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how you can use it in a communication skills.
And use both too.
You usually we use 2 to 3 in a communication skills.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you are in an environment where you want to say, okay, and here is the benefits, what my clients achieved, you can always write the 4 quadrant. So you have to understand there is a difference between writing it and there is a difference between interacting it with people. So if you are in a presentation, seminar, webinar kind of mode, you want to talk about the different benefits of your systems. So you will be able to talk about these different benefits.
I don't have much quantitatively.
It doesn't matter if you don't have quantitative, but just you always look for it, okay? One more thing before I close here I want to say is, if you go back and you look at your answer is, why do your customer buy your products and services? None of you wrote about the benefits. All of you talk about yourself. That's right?
No, I talked about my client's perspective.
This you are the only one, but these 3 people were only talking about themselves. That's right?
In this last piece?
No, in the page number 4.
Yeah, so measurable gains, quick wins. That's
Okay.
what I meant.
Marcel, what did you say? Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Now, why do people pay you money? It's because of the benefits.
Yeah.
So what was your answer why people pay you money?
I said they have the desired outcome.
Okay. So you are allowed to go back and change on page 4 whatever you want to change. Okay. When somebody comes to me and say, okay, I want to write a book, what the content of a book? The content of a book is very straightforward. You can write a book on the pain points and how you solve it for them and provide them the benefits. That's right. And all what you need for the book is 10 chapters. One is introduction, one is concluding remarks. So you need 8 chapters. So if you pick up two in each quadrant as a pain point and you show how a customer can solve it, you already have your book written or your book idea in place. Okay? Make sense?
Yeah.
Now, can we break for 45 minutes for lunch and we can reconvene after lunch?
45?
Yeah, we can meet at 1, come back at 1.
Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.